guys. Looks like you guys are all muted already because you're pros. So go ahead and start to set yourselves up however you like to. We were just talking before we got started about what feels comfortable for some people and not for others. So as always, find that position that feels comfortable for you to start your practice in. And it's not always the same. You might find that today, I don't know, your shoulder's hurting, your back's hurting, whatever. So lying on your back isn't as comfortable. So maybe you choose another shape. But just start to find that shape that feels good for you as I set up my camera screen real quick. Start to slow down your breathing. Just start to settle in. So whatever it was you were doing before you got here, I know I always say that, but it's so true. We all come to our mats from different places. We've got different things going on throughout the day, and we're all kind of coming at it from a different place. So kind of just taking a moment to bring yourself here, slow down that breathing, center yourself. I'm sure you hear that in classes all the time, but that really just kind of means doing that little check-in with yourself, seeing where you are, seeing how you're feeling. I think this is the first time we've seen each other since it's been spring. So we're at the beginning of a new season, which is always a great time to kind of have a fresh start. So maybe your intention today has something to do with that, starting fresh, letting go of something that you've been holding on to, or maybe creating something new that you've been wanting to create. So take a moment now, thinking about that intention, taking a couple more breaths, even really following that breath. So breathing in through the chest, the lungs, the stomach, feeling that expansion, filling those lungs each time you inhale. And then as you exhale, letting it go. And we're just going to do a couple more breaths like that. Kind of feel yourself starting to melt into your mat or into whatever position you are in right now. And then on the next inhale, we're going to start to find that full body stretch. So the arms are going to reach up overhead, the fingertips will wiggle, the ankles will roll, all of those kind of little tiny movements that you take as you start to just settle in. And then we're going to draw the right knee in towards us. So just the right leg. You're going to wrap your arms around your shin or your hands around your shin and kind of hug that right knee in towards you. Almost like you're trying to bring the knee towards your shoulder. So hugging it in nice and tight. And then if it feels good, you can start to move it a little. Maybe you rock from side to side. Maybe you circle that knee a little bit, just inviting some movement into the hip. And then we're going to take it into a twist. So that right knee is going to start to come over to the left side of the body. So for me, my foot is touching the mat or the ground, but my knee isn't. So most likely it'll be the same for you. The knee is probably not all the way down on the ground, and that's okay. See if you can bring the right shoulder to the ground. It's probably lifting up right now. See if you can press it back down. And again, maybe not all the way to the mat, but just work on relaxing that shoulder towards the mat. So you're getting this little twist where the leg is pressing down, the shoulder is pressing down, and the center of your body is kind of twisting. And then we're going to come back through center. You can bring that right knee back through center. And just go ahead and place it back down on the mat next to the left foot. And we'll draw that left leg in. Same thing as we did on the other side. Being still for a moment. So not moving, just drawing that left knee towards that left shoulder. Giving you that little massage on the left side of the body now. And then once you've taken a breath or two there, then you can start to move the knee. So circles or side to side, whatever feels comfortable. Tiny little movements to start to warm things up. And then we'll find that twist. So the left leg comes over to the right side. Take a breath in. As you exhale, the shoulder relaxes, the knee relaxes, and that whole body starts to and then drawing that left leg back to center. We're going to bring both knees in so the right knee can come meet the left knee, bringing those hands behind the thighs as you tuck your chin into your chest, and go ahead and start to rock yourself up to the seated position. A little massage for the back of the body. We did the sides, now we'll do the back. Eventually finding your way all the way up to a seated position, crossing the legs. This is another one of those poses where it's not comfortable for everyone. Some people feel fine in this cross-legged seat. For other people, it's a lot of pressure on your hips or your knees. If you find that to be true for you, try sitting on a pillow or a blanket or a block or something to kind of elevate your hips a little bit. And then if cross-legged just really isn't comfortable, you can always play around with straightening your legs or something. So just trying to give you some other options since I can't see you guys all the time. So from here, we're just gonna start to roll the shoulders. On the next inhale, draw the shoulders up towards your ears. As you exhale, release them down the back. Go ahead and do that a couple times. Just kind of working out anything that might be going on in those shoulders, any tension, any tightness, and it really can help to visualize that. So sure, you can roll your shoulders and not even think about it, but if you really focus on saying, I am relaxing my shoulders, I am letting go of whatever it is that I've been holding on to up here, dissolving, picture it melting, floating away, it makes a difference. You'll start to feel that relaxation. Make sure you're moving those shoulders in both directions. And then relaxing those shoulders, we'll start to bring your left ear towards your left shoulder. So you're kind of relaxing the head down towards the shoulder and not bringing the shoulder towards the ear. So it's actually different. Sometimes you think to like lift that shoulder all the way up, but we want to make sure that the shoulder is relaxed and the ear is just coming down. So you're getting that nice little stretch on the right side of the neck. Left hand can gently sit on top of the head. You can even take your right fingertips and kind of walk them out to the side of you a little bit. So you're sort of creating a little bit of a deeper stretch on that right side of the neck. And then you're just going to let your head slowly roll forward and all the way over to the other side. Your right ear is coming towards your right shoulder. Same thing, the shoulders are relaxing, that ear is pressing down. Right hand comes to the top of your head. And then those left fingertips can start to walk out to the side. And then lifting your head back up. We'll take a big deep breath in, reach the arms up overhead. Shoulders are still relaxing as the arms lift up. As you exhale, fold it forward. Walk the hands away from you. Create that length in the back of the body. Take that inhale in. Create some space. And on the exhale, fold it forward. I like to move here sometimes. So if it feels good to rock from side to side a little bit, or you can even walk your hands kind of over to the right side and then over to the left side, if that feels good. Stillness is always an option as well. And then we'll slowly start to walk those hands back towards us, finding your butterfly pose. Bring the soles of the feet together, interlacing your hands around the toes. Take a big deep breath in as the spine lengthens. And then as you exhale, start to fold it forward. Pressing the elbows into the shins, drawing the chest towards the toes. And then slowly lifting it all the way back up. We're going to come right into our tabletop position. So those legs can start to slide behind you. Your hands can come down to the mat. Your knees can be right under those hips with that flat back to start. And then when you're ready, you'll start to move through your cat and cow. So stomach presses down as you inhale, gaze goes up. Exhale, the back rounds, press the ground away from you. Almost like there's a string kind of right at the center of your back and lifting that back up. And then reverse, press the stomach down, take the knees up. Go ahead and move through that a couple times. Always moving in any way that feels comfortable for you, moving the hips, moving the head. I can always tell if I've done any other exercises recently. Sometimes if I move my hips, I feel it on the outside of my hips, they're really sore, or sometimes I'll feel it somewhere else. And then other times you don't feel anything. So this is a great chance to kind of just check in and see where you are. And then once you finish the round that you're on, come back through center. We're going to extend the right leg, keep those toes tucked, and we'll do that little foot stretch by pressing yourself forwards and backwards, using the toes to kind of propel yourself, and then press the heel back, and just getting that nice stretch in the bottom of the foot and the back of the leg. And then from here, we'll start to come back to center. The right leg is going to lift up off the mat. So the Right leg is parallel to the ground, almost like you're trying to step on the wall behind you, flexing through that foot. And then draw the right knee towards your nose, around your back. And extend it long. 2 more times just like that. Inhale, draw the knee to the nose, round the back. Exhale, extend it long. And 1 more time, knee to nose, round that back. Exhale, extend it long. Pause here, and let's come right into a balance. So the left arm is gonna reach up, or in front of you, I should say. Left arm is reaching forward, right leg is reaching back, getting a little longer, creating that nice length. And then the right leg is gonna bend. So think about pointing the toes up towards the sky, or even pressing your toes towards your head. And then start to reach the left hand back for the foot. Doesn't have to grab it. If it's close enough to grab, then go ahead and keep the top of that right foot. If you're reaching for it, just keep reaching for it. You're going to get that back bend just by reaching. Good. And then we're going to slowly re-extend the arm and leg long. Both of them can come down to the mat. Knee comes down to the mat. You can kind of shake those hips out from side to side a little bit. And then the left leg is going to extend. Tuck those toes as you start to press yourself forwards and backwards. Again, might feel it in your ankle a little bit, in the back of your leg, in the bottom of your foot. And then as you come back through center, that left leg lifts parallel to the ground. Take a breath in, draw the knee towards the nose, round the back. Exhale, extend it long. 2 more times. Inhale, knee to nose, round the back. Exhale, long. 1 more time, knee to nose, round the back. Exhale, long. Pause here. And then when you find your balance, when you're feeling stable, the right arm will start to reach up. So right fingertips are reaching forward, left leg is reaching back. See if you can reach a little further, almost like there's something right in front of you and you can just barely grab it. And then the left knee bends. Right arm starts to reach back for that left foot. So your hand can come to the top of your foot if you have it. If you're reaching, keep reaching back. Think about bending that back a little bit. You have the foot in your hand, press it away from you. And all the while breathing. And go ahead and re-extend the arm and leg. Bring your hand back to the mat, bring your knee back to the mat. And we're just going to sit back for a minute. You can kind of sit on your heels or lift up a little bit if that doesn't feel comfortable on your knees or your feet. And we're going to extend our arms out in front of us and make little fists with your hands, and then just start to roll out your ankles, your wrists. A couple circles in each direction with the wrists. And then the right hand, fingertips press up towards the sky. Take your left hand and just kind of draw those fingers towards you, stretching the bottom part of your wrists. And then switching right fingertips down, press the top of your hand. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Left fingertips press up towards the sky. And then draw those fingertips towards you. And then left fingertips press down towards the ground, pressing the top of the hand. And go ahead and shake them all out. Let it go. Take those hands. Come back to your tabletop position. And we're going to come into our downward facing dog. Tucking those toes, straightening those legs, send your hips up and back. We're just going to be here for a breath or two, not too long. So if you want to stay in that tabletop, go ahead and stay in that tabletop. Maybe move through a couple more rounds of your cat and cow. If you're in your down dog, you can kind of pedal out those feet, bend and straighten the knees, and just kind of move a little bit, start to refamiliarize yourself with this shape. And then we're all going to come to a forward fold at the back of our mat. So you're going to get there by walking your hands towards your feet. So go ahead and start to walk your hands towards your feet. Your feet are maybe 2 or 3 fists apart. And you're just going to take that forward fold, whatever forward fold you like the best, or whatever one feels good for you today, that's where you will find yourself. So I tend to gravitate towards holding on to opposite elbows. That's one option. Some people like their hands behind their legs or behind their head. Bending your knees is always a great option as well. Take about 2 or 3 more breaths here, maybe moving, maybe a little side to side movement, letting that upper body become heavy. And then on the next breath, we're all going to slowly start to lift it all the way up, reaching those arms up overhead, little back bend if that feels comfortable as you look up towards the sky. And then hands, actually keep reaching up towards the sky. We're going to step your feet together so they're a little closer if you have that space. Big inhale. As you exhale, we're going to sit back into our chair pose, your imaginary chair. So your weight is in your heels. Relax the shoulders. Think about lengthening through that spine. See if you can sit back just a little bit further. And then we're going to bring our hands to heart center. So you're still sitting back. Hands are coming to heart center. We're going to twist here. We're going to turn to the right. Bring that left elbow towards your right knee. Maybe it's touching the knee. It doesn't have to be touching the knee. So just bringing that elbow towards that knee. Your left knee is probably trying to go in front of the right one, so see if you can dial it back. And now that we've been here for a couple of breaths, we're going to take a big inhale and stand up, and it should feel really good. Reach those arms up over your head. Big inhale. And go ahead and bring your hands to heart center. And we're going to take the left foot and bring it behind the right. So you're crossing your legs. Kind of think about bringing your pinky toes together, your baby toes, and your heels are a little bit out. On the next inhale, the arms lift up, and we're going to fold here, forward fold. You'll notice you can't fold as far as you would if you had your legs straight. You'll feel the stretch a little more on the outer hips and outside of your legs. Kind of move here a little bit, maybe rock from side to side. And on the next inhale, we'll lift it all the way back up. Reach those arms overhead, come back to standing. Bring your big toes back together. Big inhale as you lift up. As you exhale, sit back into that chair. Relax the shoulders. So we're coming back into it one more time. Think about the weight in your heels. Like the toes could almost be wiggling because you're kind of, they're really soft on the ground. And then our hands are going to come to heart center. This time we're turning to the left. So the lower half of your body is staying where it is. The upper half of your body is shifting to the left. Think about bringing that right elbow towards the left knee this time. Dial that right knee back so that the knees are in a line. And if you have the elbow touching the knee, you're going to use that little connection to try to twist a little deeper. So you're going to press the elbow into the knee. Looking up towards that left elbow. And then on the next inhale, we're going to go ahead and unravel that, standing all the way up, straightening the arms, straightening the legs, reach the arms up overhead. This time, the right foot is going to step behind the left. So we had our right foot in front last time. Now your left foot is in front. Pinky toes together, heels out. Take a deep breath in as you lift up. As you exhale, dive it down, forward fold. One more time. You can rest your hands on your shins or your legs here. If you have blocks at home, you might put the blocks on the highest setting and your hands can kind of rest on those blocks. And then we'll all start to lift it up on the next inhale. Go ahead and reach those arms back up overhead. Unravel the legs so the big toes are back together. And you can bring your hands to heart center. Good. So we are still at the backs of our mats. We're going to come into a warrior one by stepping your right foot to the top of your mat. So usually I have you step back, step that foot forward. Go ahead and ground down through the outside of the left foot. So that left foot is at about a 45-degree angle. You're pressing down to the outer edge of the left foot. Your hips are pressing forward. As you inhale, lift those arms up, relax the shoulders. As you exhale, find that warrior one, starting to bend into that right knee. Dial that left hip forward so those hips are squared off. And then see if you can bend a little further into that knee without the knee going over the ankle or over the toes, really. It's okay if the knee is a little bit in front of the ankle. You just don't want that knee way out in front. From here, we're going to pivot on the back foot coming into a high lunge. So you're going to pivot so that you're on those back toes and your heel lifts up. Just a subtle little switch, but that's the difference between warrior one and a high lunge. So now we're in a high lunge. We're going to twist here. So let me adjust myself so you can see what I'm doing. You're going to take your right arm, start to reach it behind you. Take your left fingertips and reach them in front of you. You're going to start to look back towards that right arm. You're kind of twisting open to the right side. Your hips are still facing forward, but the upper body is twisting to the right. And you're still bending into that right knee. Good. On the next inhale, we'll find that high lunge again. So both arms reach back up overhead. You're looking forward again or even up. And then you can go ahead and straighten the right leg and just step the left, or yeah, let's come to the top of the mat. Step the left one to meet the right. So now you're standing at the top of your mat. And we're going to take that same thing on the other side. So rather than stepping back this time, or stepping forward this time, to step back. So the left foot is staying forward, the right foot is stepping back. 45-degree angle with that right foot. Hips are facing forward. As you inhale, the arms lift up. As you exhale, bend into that left knee, relax the shoulders. Start to settle into your warrior two. So we're going to be here for 2 or 3 breaths before we shift into that high lunge. So for your warrior two, the outer edge of that right foot is pressing down. Arms are reaching up towards the sky. You're bending into that left knee. Good. And now we'll pivot into our high lunge by spinning onto the ball of the right foot, pressing that heel back. The heel is lifted off the mat now. Usually when you do this, you'll find that you can come a little deeper into it. So you might have been a little higher in your warrior one, but all of a sudden you could sink a little bit lower into that high lunge. And again, we're going to find our twist. The left arm is going to reach behind you this time. Right fingertips are reaching in front of you. And see if you can move back towards that left hand. It's a little wobbly. It becomes a little more of a balance challenge when you try to turn your gaze towards that hand, but give it a shot. See how it goes. And then regular high lunge with both arms reaching overhead. Go ahead and kind of unravel. We'll straighten that left leg and step the right foot back up to meet the left. Hands come to heart center. Kind of shake it out a little bit. Let it go. Good. On the next inhale, let's reach our arms up overhead. As you exhale, fold forward, dive it down. Inhale, bring your hands to your shins, halfway lift, nice flat back. Exhale as you fold. Inhale as you lift it all the way up, reach those arms overhead, little back bend. Hands come to heart center. Do that one more time. Inhale, lift it up. Kind of stretch it out. Exhale, dive it down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift for space, nice flat back. Exhale as you fold. Inhale, lifts it all the way up, reach those arms up overhead. And hands come to heart center. Good. Coming back to our high lunge. So the left foot is going to step back again. You're not even going to go to the warrior one. You're just coming right to the high lunge. So you're on the ball of the left foot. Your heel is lifted. Take your breath in and lift those arms up overhead. I'm going to throw a challenge at you. You're going to give it a try. And afterwards, you can let me know how it went. We're going to do a little bit of a balance. You're going to bring your hands to heart center. Your weight is coming into that right foot, that front foot. You're going to look down at that right foot. You're going to step onto that right foot and draw the left knee in towards you. So you're lifting that left leg up towards you, kind of bending that knee, drawing it in towards the body. And then we're going to step it back to that high lunge. Left leg kind of starts to kick back right to the back of the mat. Good. You can reach the arms back up overhead if you like to, or you can just keep them at heart center, whichever feels more comfortable. But we're going to do that 2 more times. So do it as slow as you need, as controlled as you need. Even stand near a wall and maybe touch that wall if it helps. When you're ready, weight comes back in that right foot. Left leg draws in. Find your balance here. And then step that left foot back. Good. One last time when you're ready. Left leg draws in. And go ahead and step it back. Nice. We're going to open it up into a warrior two from here. So you're going to ground down through that back foot. The outer edge of the left foot is parallel to the back of your mat now. Your right fingertips are reaching forward. Your left arm is reaching back. You can bend into that right knee a little bit more as you relax those shoulders. You're going to flip your right palm, reach your right fingertips forward, create that length, that extra room in the top of the body. And then the right arm is going to start to lift up and overhead, coming into our peaceful warrior. The left hand is softly resting on that back leg, bending into that right knee, and then reaching the right arm behind you. Getting a nice stretch up the right side of the body under the right arm. And then back to your warrior two. Bend those arms in opposite directions. And let's go ahead and straighten that right leg. Reach your right fingertips forward again. So kind of like we just did, except this time that front leg is straight. And we're going to come into our triangle pose, Trikonasana. So the right arm is going to start to come down. The left arm starts to lift up. Press that shoulder back as you look towards the left hand, right up towards the sky. So see if you can make that left hand as straight as possible. A lot of times kind of out in front of you or behind you or off to the side, as straight as you can, right up towards the ceiling. That right arm is also really straight, right down towards the floor. It can be resting on your shin or a block. It can also just kind of be hanging there because your core is what's stabilizing you here. So that right arm isn't, you're not dumping all your weight into that right arm. Speaking of core, engage that core a little bit more, and then we're going to lift it back up. Your right toes are going to turn to face the outside of the mat. As you inhale, your arms lift up. As you exhale, dive it down, wide-legged forward fold. Taking any movement that feels good here. So that could be rocking from side to side, kind of bending one leg and then the other. Walking your hands over to one leg and then over to the other. At this point, you know what kind of movements feel good when you're in this shape. So go ahead and move in whatever way you like, or find some stillness. Holding on to opposite elbows and just kind of hanging out is an option as well. And then we'll all start to bring our hands to our thighs, I guess. Yeah, thighs. And then just slowly peel yourself all the way back up to standing and just take a couple steps together until you are back in a regular stance at the top of your mat again. And we're going to step the right foot back, coming into that high lunge. The left leg is forward this time, right foot is back. You're on the ball of that back foot. Hands come to heart center as we start to set ourselves up for that balance again. So this time the weight is coming in the left foot. You're going to kind of look down at that left foot, find that nice firm foundation. And then when you're ready, you can even kind of step the right foot closer to you if you need to. If it feels a little too far back, take a step closer and then draw that right knee in towards the body. Find your balance here. So not just rushing it, but find that balance here. And then when you're ready, the right foot starts to kick back, step it to the back of your mat, back to that lunge. Okay, and you're going to do two more just like that with your breath. So go ahead and move at a speed that feels comfortable for you. Go ahead and lift that right leg back up when you're ready. Give it a try. And step it back. You have that wall by you, or even a chair can be next to you, and you kind of put your hand on the chair if that helps. And last time, right knee draws in towards you. And step it back. Find that high lunge. So arms are going to reach back up overhead in that high lunge. And then we're going to open it up into another warrior two. So ground down through that back foot. Right fingertips reach forward. Right fingertips are back, left are forward. Mixing up my lefts and my rights. Relax those shoulders. See if you can bend into that left knee a little bit more. You're looking at that center middle finger on the left hand. And then the left hand is going to turn upside down. So your palm is facing the ceiling. Reach the left fingertips forward. And then that hand comes up and overhead for your peaceful warrior. See if you can bend into that front knee a little bit more as you reach those fingertips back, stretching out the side of the body, looking under that left arm up towards the ceiling. And then back to your warrior two. Bend those arms, relax those shoulders, reach those fingertips in opposite directions. And then go ahead and straighten that left leg. Left fingertips reach forward, preparing for your triangle pose. Left arm comes down and that right arm starts to reach up towards the ceiling. So think about pressing that right shoulder back a little bit more. So I kind of talked before about sometimes our hands are forward or backwards, they're not directly straight. A lot of the time that's because that right shoulder is actually pretty far forward. So you end up kind of reaching the right hand out in front of you. You can take that right shoulder, dial it back up towards the ceiling so that that right arm can lift up towards the sky. Almost as if someone tied like a string to your sternum and is sort of twisting you. Good. Engage that core and go ahead and lift it all the way back up. Turn the left toes to face the side of your mat. And one more time, we'll take a wide-legged fold. Inhale as you reach your arms up. Exhale as you dive it down. Maybe doing the same thing you did on the other side because that felt good. Maybe you find another variation. You can twist here by bringing one hand down and lifting the other one up. You can reverse that twist, take it to the other side. Hands can kind of walk behind you, drawing your head towards the mat. And then we'll slowly start to lift it all the way up, bringing your hands to your thighs, gently pressing yourself all the way back to a standing position. And then go ahead and walk those feet back towards you. Shake it out as you start to make your way back to the top of your mat. If you need to grab a sip of water or anything, go ahead. Shake it out, dance it out, take a break. And we'll all meet back at the top of the mat. So once you're ready, big inhale reaches those arms up overhead. Big exhale dives it down, forward fold. This time we're gonna put a little bend in our knees so that you can bring your hands to the mat. And we'll step it back to our downward facing dog. You can either take a couple breaths in that down dog or come down to your tabletop position if you prefer. So you choose the shape you're finding this evening. Wherever you are, take a couple breaths. If you're in your down dog, maybe you continue to move a little bit, moving the legs, moving the hips. If you're in your tabletop, you can move through a couple rounds of your cat and cow, whatever feels good for you. And then we're all going to come into our pigeon pose from here. So you have two options. You can come into a pigeon pose from a down dog, or you can come into a pigeon pose from your tabletop. So it's essentially going to be the same thing. Either way, you're going to start to bring that right knee behind the right wrist. So if you're in your down dog, that right knee slides forward. If you're in your tabletop, right knee slides forward, and then you might need to slide that left leg back a little bit. That's the difference. If you're in the tabletop, you might need to slide the left leg back some more. But either way, top of the left foot is pressing down into the mat. Your right foot is flexed. You're trying to have your weight even on both sides. So you're probably leaning to the right side just a little bit. If you can adjust so that the weight is even. If it feels challenging to have the weight even, there's a couple things you can do. You can slide that right foot closer to your body. That will help. Another option is to slide either a blanket or a pillow or something under that right thigh to kind of support it under your right hip. So take a breath here, kind of open up through the front of the body. Sometimes I like to move side to side, whatever sort of helps give you a little more space to work with. And then as you exhale, you'll start to walk those hands away from the body. You're going to find something to rest your head on. So that could mean bending your elbows and kind of resting your chin in your palms right here. It could mean using a block or some books if you have a prop at home. If you're able to come down a little bit further, you might stack your fists on top of each other and rest your forehead on your fists, or eventually maybe the forehead is on the backs of your hands. But you know how far it feels appropriate for you to go. I just want you to find something to rest the head on so that you can relax those shoulders, the upper back, and the neck. If you're holding it up, then you're tensing all those muscles. So I want you to relax into this pose, which this is another one that makes people laugh sometimes when we say relax into this pose because it's not always the most comfortable of poses, but that's okay because that means you need it. That's what I was trying to say. So a lot of times the poses that don't feel the best are the ones our bodies need the most. So sometimes when you can remind yourself of that, it helps remind you of why you're doing it and how good it is for you. We're just going to take about 2 or 3 more breaths here. And then you're going to slowly start to walk those hands back towards the body. You're pressing your upper body up. And then you have the choice to head back to that down dog or the tabletop, wherever you started from. You can slide that right leg back. So either coming to that tabletop, coming to that down dog, whichever feels more comfortable for you. And then you'll start to make your way onto the other side. So once you're ready, that left knee is going to start to draw forward behind that left wrist. And take your time here. So I think this is one of the poses where it's most important to not just rush into it. I think coming into the pose is just as important as being in the pose here. So if that means staying upright for a couple of breaths and just kind of rocking side to side on your hips, that's fine. Press down to the top of the right foot, flex the left foot. When you're ready, you'll take that breath in, kind of create that space in the front of the body, and eventually you'll start to lower it down when you feel ready. You can hang out on the elbows, or you can take it a little further down. You decide. Sometimes it's a matter of just easing into it. So maybe you hang out on your elbows for a couple breaths and then eventually go a little bit further down. Maybe you stay on the elbows the whole time. And we're going to take about 5 breaths here. See if you can either focus on your breath. So just kind of follow that breath, inhale and exhale, maybe even repeating that to yourself. Or think about the intention that you set for yourself, or just visualize yourself relaxing your muscles. So any one of those things is fine, but it's helpful to focus on one of those things so that your mind doesn't start to wander, because sometimes when we come into these still poses, all of a sudden we start thinking about whatever, what you're about to cook for dinner, what your to-do list is, all those other things start to come into your mind. So it can help to keep focusing on this moment actively. And then we'll slowly start to walk the hands back towards the body as you start to lift up through the upper body. And then again, coming back to wherever you started, whether it's your tabletop or your down dog, go ahead and step it back. Maybe take a minute to kind of stretch it out, move a little bit. And then we're all going to come to a seated position. So whether you're in your down dog or your tabletop, you'll all come down onto your mat, extending your legs long in front of you. Kind of tap the backs of the legs on the mat a little bit. And we're going to bring the left foot into the right inner thigh, keeping that right leg extended, flexing those toes. You're going to shift so that you're most like facing that right leg rather than like the center between your left leg and the right leg. Shift so that you're facing that right leg, if that makes sense. And then on the next inhale, the arms lift up overhead. And as you exhale, fold over that right leg, taking any fold that feels comfortable for you. A little bend in the knee. I tend to bend my knees a lot because that feels good to me. So if that's you, go ahead and put a little bend in the knee. Maybe you're massaging the back of the leg a little bit. Your hands are on your shin or the mat or wherever it feels right. Keep flexing those right toes. Keep that foot really active and engaged. Let's all take an inhale and lift up halfway. So flatten your back as you inhale. As you exhale, fold a little bit further forward using that space you just created. And then on the next inhale, we'll all start to lift it all the way back up. We're going to find a twist. The left foot is going to come to the outside of the right knee. The left hand comes to the side of the body. And as you inhale, the right arm lifts up. As you exhale, twist to the left, hooking that right elbow on the outside of the left knee, using that connection on the knee, kind of like we were doing in that chair when we were twisting. Same idea, pressing the elbow into the knee, to allow the upper body to kind of twist a little deeper. Looking over that right shoulder. Also focusing on having that back as straight as possible. Sometimes we start to arch our backs or curve our backs and hunch over a little bit. Keep sitting up nice and straight and twisting. And then we're all going to come back through center. Take it over to the right side for just a breath, pressing that left elbow into the knee. And come back through center. Bend both legs long, tap the backs of the legs out on the mat, and we'll take it over to the other side. So the right foot is coming to the left inner thigh. That left foot is flexed, shifting so that you're facing the left leg. So if you were kind of to draw a line, it would go from your body to the left foot rather than straight through the middle. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, fold it forward. Again, whatever feels good for you here. If it's a bent knee, if it's hands on the shin, hands on the toes, do that. Continuing to flex through that left foot. And continuing to use your breath here. Speaking of breath, let's all take that halfway lift as you inhale, flat back. As you exhale, fold a little deeper. And then we'll all start to lift it all the way back up. Right foot is going to come to the outside of that left knee. Right hand comes to the side of the body. As you inhale, lift the left arm up. As you exhale, twist to the right. Hooking that elbow on the outside of the knee. Using that connection to create that twist. And then as you come back through center, take it over to the left side, kind of unraveling it. The right elbow can press into the knee. And back through center. Tap the backs of your legs out as you extend both legs long. And we'll start to prepare to come all the way down onto our backs. So as always, collect yourself whatever it is you might need. If it's a sip of water, if it's socks or sweaters or any of that kind of stuff, go ahead and get what you need. And then when you're ready, core is engaged, and you'll slowly start to lower yourself all the way down onto that mat. The slower you go, the more you're going to feel it. Big full body stretch once you get there. Big inhale, reach the fingertips, point the toes. And then as you exhale, your hands can come to the sides of your body. They can just sort of rest at either side of you as we start to set up for a bridge pose by bending the knees. The feet are right at the base of the spine. And on an inhale, the hips will start to peel up off the mat. We're going to take our arms, actually, we're going to do this a little different, and reach your arms up and overhead as well. So the arms are on the mat behind you. This is the inhale. So the hips are pressing up and the arms are back. As you exhale, you're going to peel the spine back down onto the mat, and you're going to bring the hands to the sides of the body. We're going to do that 2 more times. So inhale, peel up that spine, reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale, come back down, hands to the sides of the body. 1 more just like that. Inhale, hips lift, arms lift. Exhale, go ahead and bring it all back down. Good. And then let's hug those knees in towards us. Wrap your arms around your shins. You can rock it out from side to side. You can circle the legs. It can also feel good to kind of lift your head up off the mat towards your knees. So we were just bending our spines kind of backwards. So when you kind of curl up into those ball in this shape, you're sort of bending your spine in the other direction. So it can kind of feel like a nice little counter pose. And then go ahead and lower yourself all the way back down onto the mat. You can keep that little ball shape and just start to find your way into your inversion. So I always give you guys options. If you like to use the wall, go ahead and find some wall space if you have it, or just reach those feet right up towards the sky wherever you are. Hands can be under the hips and tailbone, or they can be behind the thighs. And you're just going to count 7 or so of your own breaths. So go ahead and start counting whenever you make your way into this shape. Maybe your eyes start to close. Your breath starts to slow down a little bit. As always, if you are using the wall and you want to stay there for the last few minutes of class, you are welcome to do that. If you're not using the wall, you're probably just about ready to come out of it. So whenever you are, your knees can start to draw back in towards you, wrap your arms around your legs, give yourself that little hug again, kind of rock it out side to side. And we're all going to find a fish pose. So you're going to extend your legs long, your arms are coming to the sides of the body, and then you're pressing your forearms into the mat. So you're kind of lifting up on your elbows and your forearms, and then puffing up the chest, puffing up the heart. If it feels comfortable, your head can lean back so that you're getting that stretch of the throat. That doesn't feel comfortable on your neck, just keep looking forward and focus on getting that little arch in the back of the body. Your toes can kind of point forward. And then slowly lower yourself all the way back down onto the mat. We're going to bend our knees, bring your feet to the base of your spine one more time. As we start to come into our twist, your arms will extend wide to either side, and you'll just let your knees release over to the right side. And you've been here a bunch of times before, so you know what specifics you like in this pose, what feels comfortable for you. So go ahead and start to do those things, whether it's looking up or to the left, whether it's crossing one leg on top of the other. Sometimes that feels good or gives you a deeper stretch. Maybe it means closing your eyes. Whatever it is that you like in this pose, do that. Sometimes I like to cactus my arms rather than having them straight. I bend my elbows. Try to draw that left shoulder back towards the mat. And then we're all going to take those knees and bring them over to the opposite side. So just gently switching the direction of that twist, doing whatever you need to feel comfortable here. Same options as the other side. Maybe you turn your head one way or the other. You close your eyes. And then again, starting to come back through center. Feet come to the base of the spine, knees are bent. And take this time, as always, to just do that final little check-in. See what you need. Do you need to put some socks on? Do you need to do another stretch? Do you need a sip of water? Or do you need nothing and you are just going to stay right here? This is a great Shavasana. You can walk your feet out to either side of your mat and kind of let your knees lean in towards each other, and your hands can just be right there on your stomach. Or you can start to straighten those legs long, bend your arms wide, take up a lot of space, and make your feet wide too. Big starfish shape if that feels comfortable, or anything else that you like. You can come on to your side or a seat. But just take a moment now to kind of collect yourself, do all those final things, and then eventually you'll start to settle into that final pose of the evening, whatever it's going to look like for you. Once you find that shape, your eyes will close if they weren't already. And you'll just kind of melt. You'll melt into this pose. You'll completely let go, completely surrender, and just let yourself be here for the next few moments with nothing else to do other than just floating here on your mat in Shavasana. Slowly starting to deepen your breath. Move your fingers, toes. Always starting with really tiny movements. Getting a little bigger, so moving into the wrists, the ankles, eventually bigger stretches, maybe a full body stretch with the arms overhead or the legs bending or straightening. And if you're lying down, you can start to turn over onto your right side, bending those knees, resting your head on your arms, little fetal position. And just take these last few moments here on your mat. Just kind of enjoy the stillness for a moment longer before you get up off your mat and go back out into the rest of the day. Just soak up these last few moments of this peace and this calm so that when you do go back out into the day and the week and the season, new season we're in, kind of come at it with that recharged battery, that full cup, ready to take on whatever you got coming. So whenever you're ready, you can slowly start to make your way back up to a seat once you feel ready to move again. Bringing those hands to heart center. Your eyes can stay closed or close them once again once you sit up. Thank you, as always, for bringing that light and that energy with all of you and sharing it with all of us here all over the place virtually. Hope you have the most beautiful night, wonderful week ahead. Till I see you guys next week. Namaste. All right.